real quick, I got a special announcement for you guys. Right now, we're running a special promotion over on poodlecfb.com. If you use code WINTER with a capital W, you will receive 40% off the annual deal, which basically locks you in from now and the majority of CFB 26. It's one of the fastest growing communities, so you definitely want to get in now so you'll be locked in for next year. And if you want to stick to the monthly plan, we're running 20% off on the monthly if you use code WINTER2025 with a capital W. So make sure to check it out. The codes and links will be down below in the description and in the comments. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 25 video, and in today's video I'm going over one of the biggest secrets and best strategies in Dynasty mode. Before we get into the video, guys, as always, if you haven't already, check out the ideal coach build. That always helps when I do go through videos like this. I have a video up from a few weeks ago going over the new greatest ideal coach build. We also have it over on the website broken down on the Excel spreadsheet. We also recently added our new coaching calculator, which allows you to kind of build it out, which is really helpful because if you love my build but you want to make a tweak here or there, which I do recommend, if you feel like you play a certain way or do things a certain way, or you don't care about running backs or wide receivers, you can slightly tweak my build. The coaching calculator allows you to map it all out. It does the math for you, and it's very easy, so make sure to check that out. Of course, all of our spreadsheets as well as over there, and the guide. Right now, we are still running the promotion due to 300 active members, so congrats on that to everyone that's over in that community. Code WINTER with a capital W gets you 40% off the annual plan, and code WINTER capital W 2025 gets you 20% off the monthly plan. So make sure to check that out while it is still active. You get locked in for now, and CFP 26, which is a huge bonus, so make sure to check it out. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so coming over to your coach build, this is something that is really not talked about enough, and it's something that I really like, but there is some stipulations to it, so make sure to stay tuned throughout the video so you hear the whole story. Currently, my ideal coach build is going to be basically recruiter tier 1 through 4. Again, everything I say is not including kicker or punter, so this last one over here, ignore that. It's tier 1 through 4 here, then it's tier 1 on elite recruiter, then you come over to motivator, it's tier 1 through 3, and then you come over to architect, etc. Right now, there is a stipulation. So to my ideal coach build, I did make the stipulation that I have two builds for you. There's architect and there's master motivator. Architect is mainly for me meant for slightly above average players and above that, right? So above average, slightly above average, and above. This is meant for people who play the game. But remember, if you don't play the game, like you sim a lot of games, you sim seasons, or you're not that good at the game, you don't win many games, architect is not for you. And that's why I've made that stipulation very clear. There is another path. Now, I've gotten a few questions, and I want to cover this now. Why not talent developer, right? Lower rated QBs progress faster, etc. Due to some testing that we did over on poodlecfb.com, thank you to our data testers, they did test and they found out that a lot of things actually don't stack. So like I've told you about pipeline bonuses, like you just don't get the double bonus you get from there. And what I mean stacking is like with recruiter. If you have elite recruiter on tier 1 and your other coordinators have it, you're getting a stack. If you have recruiter, this bonus here for increased weekly hours and recruiting action of bigger impacts, and you have tier 1 on this, they stack. Like they all come together to increase your recruiting prowess. So people think that happens with motivator. So people assume, okay, if I have motivator tier 3 and then I also have talent developer for lower rated guys to progress faster, and for tier 4 starting defensive line will gain XP faster. When you get to the off-season period, which is really the biggest time for upgrades, right? The training results period, we did some testing, and having talent developer and all these other things plus motivator got you here. If you took everything else off and just had motivator, you still got there. So we started to learn that a lot of things weren't stacking, and at least not beneficial enough. For like talent developer cost 8 points per, so we were learning that a lot of things weren't stacking. But upon our testing, we did find one thing that did stack, which basically means not only do you get your motivator tier 3 boost, you got something else, and that's going to be master motivator tier 3. Now remember, there's a reason why I didn't really like this, and I'm going to get into it. Like I said before, you have to spend by tier 1 and 2, so you have to waste 16 points, which I think they're just awful for the most part. You got to waste tier 1 and 2 spots to get to tier 3. But why it's good is if you're not that great at the game, if you're not slightly above average, you're not benefiting from architect as much as you like to. So with architect, you get in-game additional goals. So if you're getting a lot of stats and you're pretty good at the game, good. Also, you earn a bonus for 3-game win streaks. So if you're not that good at the game, or again, you sim. Some people they'll run like a army franchise or dynasty where they just sim. So in an army dynasty, you may only win 3 games the first year, 3 games the next year, 5 games. So throughout all those years, you're not getting much of the architect bonuses, and you're not playing, so you're not getting a lot of what you actually want. So it's kind of wasteful. So if you're simming, or if you're an offline player, this is another stipulation. So a lot of guys have said, why would I go into recruiter a lot when I win all my recruits without it? Yes, if you're an offline player, you probably can abuse the CPU. In a competitive online dynasty, that's not the case. So in that case too, this is where you could pivot. So if you're not that great at the game or you sim a lot, I would pivot the architect points off of motivator. If you're an offline player, you can pivot the points off of recruiter and put them to motivator and architect, which is even better. But motivator tier 3 actually stacks on elite motivator, right? Master Motivator, it's stacked. So what's cool here is, let's say in an offseason, you have a quarterback that's a field general. He's an 82 overall. Let's say when you advance the training week, he goes up from an 82 to an 86 for a Motivator tier 3 put in the work. But if you have Master Motivator 2, when those bonuses happen, you actually will go from, like, instead of an 82 to 86, you may go to an 88. So this increases all your gains. Now, still, my one issue I have with this is that if your caps are bad, right? If you're bringing in 2-star, 3-star, 4-star players and you don't have the best caps, even though you have Motivator to get to their ceiling quicker, that doesn't necessarily mean it's great, because you might just get there quicker and they may just draft out. They might just get drafted quicker, right? That's where Architect kind of comes into play, and why, again, if you're an offline player and you want to get off Recruiter, Architect and Motivator go hand in hand, because then you can also unlock skill caps, which helps increase their ceilings. And that's kind of my problem, is, like, I prefer, as a player that plays and I win a good amount and I'm pretty good at the game, I like Architect. But for all you guys on the other side, and there's a lot of you who just play offline or just play sim or just play to play for fun, then you're not that great at the game, definitely utilize Master Motivator. Now, there is another caveat to this. If you're going the Master Motivator route, you definitely want to be utilizing your coordinators differently. So some people say, okay, I'm going to go Master Motivator, but then I'm going to get 2 recruiting coordinators. I wouldn't do that. I'm more of an all-in guy, and there's a reason. I've learned from my, whatever it is at this point, 8 months, 9 months of CFB, going half-ass is not the way. I know a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to make my coach a recruiter and then make my coordinators motivator. I learned that you just end up, like, the jack of all trades does not work. If you're a half recruiting, half motivator coach, you're not going to out recruit for almost anybody, because there's going to be at least 3 to 5 teams, 3 to 5 coaches that go all in on recruiting, and they're just going to win every recruit. So now you're a loser in the recruiting game. And the motivator, if you're only going 2 coordinators there and you're at the mercy of whatever they upgraded, you're not going to be building that great. So you're going to be somewhere stuck in the middle. You want to go all in. So in my opinion, if you're going to go the Master Motivator route, like you're an offline sim guy or you're not that great at the game, if you're going to go the Motivator Architect route or the Motivator Recruiter route, what I recommend doing in this case is actually going ahead and getting 2 coordinators that are Master Motivators. Now, if you go over on poodlecfb.com, if you're already a member, and if you're not, again, I advise you to sign up. Our spreadsheet, we have 2 different ones, but our main spreadsheet, when you go in, you can actually see every single coordinator in the game. By the way, this is super helpful, because when you're in the offseason at the coaching carousel and you're going to hire one and you don't know what they have, our spreadsheet lays out all their abilities. So you can actually see that Chris Hester, one of the guys that are going to be there, even though you can't click in, our spreadsheet has Chris Hester. He has unlocked tier 1 through 3, tier 1 through 4. So you can actually go through and see all the Master Motivators in the game, and you can go and pick one specifically. And even better, if you're going to start a new dynasty, you can pick a team that has them. So, like, for instance, we know from the spreadsheet that Stanford starts with 2 Master Motivator coordinators. So if you want to go this route, Stanford's awesome because they have A+ academic prestige, like A campus lifestyle. You can take Stanford, you start with 2 Master Motivator coordinators, you can then build your coach to Master Motivator, and you're off to the races right away. And that is why it's super important to check out the spreadsheet when you want to reference this stuff. But there is one more caveat. Now, let's say you're a mix. You're pretty good at the game, but you also sim a lot, and you're not really sure, and you kind of want Master Motivator. You can also hybrid the Architect, and that's what's really cool here. So, for instance, Architect is great for people who actually play the game, or really positions where you're going to get a lot of stats out, right? So, quarterback, awesome, because you're going to play with quarterback every single play of the game. Halfback, wide receiver, great. O-line is a position where you're not going to be getting stats with them per se, and maybe you're not getting as much as you want. So maybe what you do is you don't pay for the Architect for O-line. And maybe you feel the same way about linebackers and DBs. Like, you don't get a lot of stats. Maybe you don't pay for Architect here, or here, or here. You save those points, and then what you do is on Master Motivator, you go in on there one spot, and you upgrade your O-line to tier 3 instead. And you upgrade your D-backs, right? Your D-backs or your linebackers to 24 points here to tier 3. And that way, quarterback, running back, wide receiver get those in-game bonuses, because you can stat pad them and build them. And then your Master Motivator will just organically take care of bonuses for you and positions you're not playing well at. So this is another thing. I feel that I'm an above average player, but there's a thing to me. I get a lot of stats with quarterbacks. I run the ball a lot. I get a lot of stats with running backs, wide receivers, right? I've never been a guy that gets a lot of interceptions or a lot of sacks. This year's a bit better, but I've always been a guy that never got a lot of sacks. I don't blitz much. I feel like I always play more of a bend, don't break defense. So I never got a lot of sacks. So I've always had trouble building defensive linemen, especially in Madden. So for me, it would be good to be like, okay, I don't get a lot of stats there. I don't really draw up the pressure like that. It's probably best for me to just put Master Motivator there and let them just grow on their own, because I'm not going to be doing enough with them to break their caps and to get the extra XP I want. So you can also divvy it up that way. So I do want you guys to just play all these factors in your head when building your coach, and understanding what they do, and understanding that a lot of these other things don't exactly stack with regular Motivator. So even though you think you're getting all these extra bonuses, you're not. And that's really why I stay with Recruiter, Motivator, Architect. For the most part, is the only thing I touch. And again, for tier 3 Master Motivator, I don't like wasting the first 2, but there's instances where you're better off wasting the first 2 than going all in an Architect and just simming games and winning 3 or 4 games a year. So I hope you guys understood that. If you have any questions, comment down below. Let me know in the comment section. DM me on Twitter. Hit me up in the Discord if you're in there. and we will go through it. But I hope this helped you guys out. Make sure to understand where things apply for you specifically to your dynasty. Are your friends awful at recruiting? Do you not need to go all in on that? And remember, always stack your coordinators with what you're doing as your head coach. You don't want to be half-assed. If you're half-assed, you're just not going to do much with your team. And that's where you get stuck at like a 92 overall, 93, and you can't recruit well, you don't grow well, and you're stuck. And that's where you got to reset your coach for the most part. So don't do that. And if you're ready in a dynasty and you're allowed to, I recommend retiring your coach and starting over. If you use our method we posted a few days ago, you can easily get him to level 50 in a few seasons, and you'll be off to the races and have a better coach than you had before. And yeah, guys, about it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to use code WINTER or code WINTER2025 for the annual or monthly plan. You don't want to miss out. Lock yourself in for CFP 26 and the remainder of CFP 25. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Peace.